Hey, it's Rachel, and I have to tell you that as I'm recording this video, it is my daughter's last day of school, which means that summer is right around the corner, which means that sibling fighting is right around the corner. So I want to give you a couple of tips for how you can reduce the fighting in your home this summer. Now, I have to tell you that I do entire workshops on how to raise kids who get along. So what I'm going to do is just to give you the three main reasons that kids do fight with each other, and then give you some tips for handling one of those reasons. So the three reasons, very briefly, that kids fight so much is that number one, they are understimulated. Kids' brains are wired for stimulation. They're craving it. So if they're not actually involved with something, they are going to crave that stimulation, and they will create it by bothering their sibling that actually creates the stimulation that they're craving. Now, I'm not a big believer that we need to entertain our children. I actually think being bored is helpful. They just need to learn how to deal with their boredom in a way that doesn't involve bothering their sibling. The second reason that siblings fight is that one or more is in a really bad place. The truth is, when kids are in a bad place, they often take it out on their sibling simply because their sibling is, first of all, right there, and their sibling doesn't have that much power. It's better to take it out on your sibling than your parent, who could get you in trouble, obviously. Now, I will tell you that it's not always the sibling that is causing them to be upset. It's sometimes that a child comes home with something bad going on outside of the home and they just take it out on their sibling. But often sibling fighting is caused because they're taking out their what I call yuck on each other. The third reason that siblings tend to fight is the one I'm going to delve a little bit more deeply into. And this is the fact that kids really don't know how to solve the problems that inevitably come up when there is more than one child. So there are going to be issues that arise, but kids don't have the tools to actually solve those problems. For example, let's say there are two children and one iPad. Neither child is actually thinking, there are two of us and one iPad. That's a problem. How are we going to solve that? What they're thinking is, I want it. Because developmentally, children are pretty selfish, so their natural solution is to think about themselves only. That's why we have to teach them how to solve problems. This isn't something that comes naturally to them, so we have to give them the tools to be able to do this. And I will emphasize that you don't necessarily want to do this in the moment when they're already fighting. Very recently, I did a video that talks about why it's so important to parent proactively. So you want to teach them how to solve problems proactively, and I'm going to give you three ways to do this. The first is something that you might want to do, which is to have a mantra that you say on a regular basis. In our home, we always say, every problem has a solution. I've said that since my kids were really young, and even though they roll their eyes at me when I say it, I overhear them saying it to each other. So they've really internalized that every problem does have a solution. So we actually can teach kids how to find these solutions by proactively giving them or even making up problems that we face on a daily basis and asking them for solutions. My husband and I sometimes do this at the dinner table. We'll say, hey, this is a problem I had today. How do you think that we can solve this? Now, younger kids are going to be really excited to get in on this action. It's kind of like a game. Older kids might be more hesitant, but I will tell you, and you probably already know this, that older children love to tell you what to do. So if you frame this as a problem you've had that you're having difficulty solving, and you ask them for their advice, they're going to be more than willing to tell you what to do, but this is a way to teach them how to solve problems. The last thing you want to do is really reward them or more respect them when they actually do solve problems. So when they're actually coming up with solutions, just recognizing that their solution is something that has helped you or helped the family or is really creative in some way. One of the things that we do in my family, because my kids are still relatively young, is that we use our initials plus the word PS when someone solves a problem. So if I solve a problem, my kids will say to me, RBPS. And it's really exciting, and we all sort of celebrate it. Now, if your kids are older and they might not get into something like that, just respecting their solution can go a long way, because what older kids really crave is respect, where you recognize that they did something and that maybe you couldn't have done it yourself. They will really start to get these good feelings from solving problems. So when you teach your kids to solve problems, they really fight less in the moment because they know exactly how to resolve the conflicts that will inevitably arise. So I hope that gives you some tips, some thoughts. If you have any questions, of course, email me at rachel@rachel-bailey.com. I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.